Are you the type of person that gets obsessed with a new idea or a plan? You buy the planner, you set the routine, and you tell everyone. And then, like 3 days later, you've dropped it and you just feel like a fraud. Well, that was my life for years. I thought I was lazy or broken because I just could never follow through. But what I realized is that I wasn't lazy or broken. I had ADHD and I was using strategies built for a different kind of brain. So, if you give me 8 minutes, I'll share what finally clicked for me, why Brighter Brains and this channel exists, and what you can start doing differently from today. So here's just a super quick roadmap so you know exactly where we're going, all right? So I'll tell you, what my start over cycle kind of looked like, what changed after my diagnosis, and exactly what you'll get on this channel. So, practical stuff, no fluffy kind of motivation, okay? Quick little introduction. My name is Mark. I am in my 30s. I'm based in the UK. And I've been into personal growth, self-development, self-help, self-improvement, personal, whatever you want to call it, right? For as long as I can remember. I'm that guy that has read all of the books. I've invested in all the courses. I've tried all of the different routines, and I genuinely wanted to improve my life. But the weird thing was, some of the stuff I was learning worked, but lots of it didn't. And I also realized that there was other people that kind of started on the journey at the same time as me, and it worked for them. And for whatever reason, it just didn't stick with me, right? My pattern was like always the same, by the way. I'd get a new idea, especially business ideas, and I'd go all in on that. I'd be buzzing, I'd plan everything. Sometimes I'd tell people, and I'd start really strong. And then I'd hit like a boring patch, or I'd get overwhelmed with something, or life would get stressful, or just life would get us in the way, and my focus would just disappear, essentially. And instead of kind of following through and pushing through, I'd jump to the next shiny thing, right? And the worst bit isn't even the switching. It's the story, that you tell yourself afterwards. The things like, see, you never follow through, or you're all talk. I can't trust myself, whatever it might be, right? And that is what messes with your confidence, essentially. And over time, that cycle has a cost. For me, it was stress, a lot of guilt, and I'll be honest, it affected the financial side of things as well, because when you keep switching, you keep spending, you keep restarting, that kind of stuff. And emotionally, I would be snappy, very snappy. I'd get frustrated, sometimes even angry, and not necessarily because I'm an angry person, but because when your brain is overloaded, everything just feels like it's on fire, essentially. And the reason it took quite a while to click was because I feel like I masked it really well. So when I actually told friends or family that I have ADHD, I've had the diagnosis, some people didn't believe me at first, because a lot of them, they still think that ADHD is just the hyper kid that's running around bouncing off the walls and stuff like that, all right? And it was never that for me. For me, the hyperactivity was mostly inside my head, okay? It was like constant mental noise up there and constant thinking about things, right? The fidgeting. For some reason, I do this with my nails. Weird. I do this, rub them against my lip, against my teeth. I rub my nail. Weird. I don't know why. It'd be interesting to know actually if anyone else does this, by the way. I've never come across anyone. I have actually seen someone playing with their nails like that. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, the mental noise, the fidgeting, forgetfulness. I've always been known. I've got a terrible memory. Everyone knows that. I would lose focus really quickly. I'll be very easily distracted, like the slightest noise, whatever it might be. And quite emotional. I get, like I say, stressed and angry and stuff like that quite a lot. My emotions were running hot. Okay. It's funny to look back on my school reports, actually. Even my school reports basically said the same thing every year. Mark has got so much potential, but he just gets easily distracted, essentially. That's what they all said. And then I got my diagnosis later on in life. And honestly, it was like someone handed me the instruction manual almost, okay? Not because it fixed everything overnight, all right, but because it changed the question, really. I stopped asking, what's wrong with me? And I started asking, well, what does my brain need to work, essentially? And the biggest thing for me that clicked was that most productivity and personal development, advice and stuff like that is built for neurotypical brains. It kind of assumes that consistent motivation and willpower, essentially, right? But ADHD doesn't run on that, right? It doesn't run on that consistent, motivation and willpower. ADHD runs on interest, on urgency, emotion, and environment, okay? So if you keep trying to force yourself into neurotypical brains, you'll get the same result, which is short bursts, burnout, guilt, restart, okay? And part of this is actually why I wrote my first book, which is called The Ultimate Guide for Men with ADHD, all right? I wrote it because I wanted something that didn't just explain ADHD, but it gave you the practical tools that you can actually use in real life, especially around, follow through, consistency, confidence, and building structure, essentially. So if you're interested, it's on Amazon. You can check it out, but either way, I'll be teaching the ideas here as well, all right? And that's kind of why I created Brighter Brains, essentially, okay? So what you'll learn here is stuff like how to start when you're feeling overwhelmed, how to focus when you don't feel like it, how to stop procrastinating without kind of beating yourself up, how to handle stress and emotions so that you don't snap or spiral, and how to follow through on goals and business ideas and stuff like that without constantly switching, all right? Just to be clear here as well, by the way, I'm not pretending that I've got life all figured out. Right, I'm not a neuroscientist, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist or anything like that. I am someone with ADHD, and I have tested a ridiculous amount of things. I've read all the things, done all the courses, all that sort of stuff. And also I've done ADHD coaching as well. Okay. And I am continuing to build my knowledge. I've been on I just learn. I love learning, right? So I continue to build my knowledge, and I'll always teach this in a real world way, essentially, and teach you everything that I know and that's helped for me and clients and stuff like that. So you'll be getting tools that you can implement immediately. You'll get templates that are ADHD-friendly, and honest conversations, all right, including the messy bits as well, okay, because that's real life and that's what actually helps, essentially. And so I just want to leave you with something. Here's a simple thing that you can do today, like literally now, if you want to start changing this. So if you can pick one thing, just one thing that you've been avoiding recently, and ask yourself, what would make this 20% easier to do, okay? Not perfect, not forever, just 20% easier. What would make that one thing that you've been putting off 20% easier? Because ADHD progress isn't about, becoming some disciplined robot or anything like that. It's about making the right action easier to do and the wrong action harder to do. All right. And I want to make this channel useful for you. Okay. So if you could please just comment one word, please, in the comments that fits you most right now. What are you most struggling with? Okay. Is it starting? Is it focus? Is it finishing, or overwhelm? Okay, just one of those words, one of those 4 words. If you're comfortable, just add something like, the thing I am struggling with right now is starting, focus, finish, overwhelm. Starting, focusing, finishing, or overwhelm. All right. I do read all the comments. I'll reply with, what to do next and which video to watch first to point you in the right direction, essentially. If this hits home with you, please do subscribe. It's a new channel. I'd love to help as many people as I possibly can. I'm posting practical ADHD-friendly systems every single week. The next video will be the kind of foundation, something that I came up with, which is called the RISE method, essentially. It's a simple tool, a simple loop that you can use anytime that your life goes off track, essentially. Okay. Welcome to Brighter Brains with myself, Mark, and I'll see you in the next one.